Welcome back to the Texas Daily. Joining us now is Dr. Reg McDaniel. He's a retired physician, and you've got a healthcare business called Wellness Quest.
Correct.
So tell us, we want to talk a little bit about cardiovascular disease, in particular among men. It's still the #1 killer?
Number one killer, and Craddock, unfortunately, is a wake-up time that we all have this risk.
Is it because of our lifestyle? What makes cardiovascular disease such a risk?
Well, I think that it's important to bring up a statement that I found on a website from a dietary supplement company in Germany about 6 months ago that blew my mind. And in quotes, it says, if we could find and deliver to the individual the proper nutrition and exercise, comma, not too much, not too little, comma, we'd have found the safest pathway to good health. Then beneath it, the same source said, which I was familiar with, let your food be your medicine, and your medicine your food. Hippocrates, 300 years before our calendar started, he knocked the ball out of the park.
And that's it.
And
diet and exercise.
Diet and exercise.
What about men taking care of themselves, and by that I mean regular examinations? Is that still a problem to get men to go in for an annual physical?
Well, their wife can sometimes get them to go. Seems to be the main thing there. But actually, we have over a century of this, and I think if you look at healthcare costs and the rates of disease and all, that's not enough. And because of some research I got into in 1985, I slowly came to the realization of that quote from Hippocrates.
Is the kind of cardiovascular disease that we believe Kid Craddock suffered from something that you would detect in a routine exam, or at least a routine heart exam? A
good example is that I went to medical school here at Southwestern and at Parkland, and also trained with an excellent clinical cardiologist, Dr. Ben Friedman, at the VA hospital out in Lancaster. And one of his residents, top residents, came in, was most distressed one day because his best friend had come in down in Corsicana complaining of pain under his watch. And he put him through he was a cardiologist, he put him through all the things of that time, the technology to try to detect the problem, and he pronounced him that this must be some kind of a variant of arthritis or a strain or something that probably would go away. And he was on the second floor of a building down there, and after he left, he heard sirens downstairs. And as his best friend went to get in his car, he collapsed in the street and died of a heart attack that he had just told him he didn't have a problem with. Now, during the Korean War, the medical support for our military probably reached an apex of whatever had happened before, military medicine. And all our emergency medical vehicles came from that development of information, because where men were trying to kill each other over there, and with trauma, the same degree of trauma in an auto accident or industrial accident, you had about double the chance to survive in Korea than you did on the streets here.
So is it hard to detect a blockage?
Well, that's what I wanted to get into. The other thing they did is they did autopsies on all the older teenagers and young 20s, and found out, to their amazement, that there was significant coronary artery narrowing.
Even with 20-year-olds?
20-year-olds. And a good public educational thing about this is available on the web. It's from CNN, a segment with Sanjay Gupta called The Last Heart Attack, about research that's been done at the Cleveland Clinic.
Well, we don't have a whole lot more time, but I think the bottom line is that the research is being done, and we know more now than we have ever have before about cardiovascular disease, and men need to be proactive about it.
Well, Ken Cooper has Aerobics Center here in Dallas, and he has advocated walking instead of jogging.
Well, he would know.
That's part of what Hippocrates said. And human beings tend to do excessively. As I frequently say when people are asking me questions, I would say moderation in all things but love. Love is the only thing on this planet we don't have too much of.
All right. Well, good advice.
Don't over-exercise.
But get enough in.
Yeah.
And go see your doctor.
And your choice of food is so important. There's a new college of
Dr. McDaniel,
nutrition.
We kind of have to wrap up here. We don't have a whole lot more time, but I really appreciate you coming in, and thanks for being here. And we know more now, and men are better able to take care of themselves, and hopefully we'll do so.
Well,
thank you.
The key word is personal preventive health.
Word to live by.
Yes.
And we want to, before we end this segment, I want to invite Susie Humphreys to come back in because she's got some final thoughts she wants to share as they relate to Kid Craddock and his passing.
Yes, and I loved your statement about love because we're learning how beloved Kid Craddock was. So it got me to thinking about, okay, how does somebody live a life like that, that's generous, loving, warm, opens his heart to people? And I came across a favorite quote from Ralph Waldo Emerson, so I think it sums him up, and hopefully it'll give us all something to try to live up to the life that he has. It's called "To Laugh Often and Love Much, to win the respect of intelligent persons and the affection of children, to earn the approbation of honest citizens and endure the betrayal of false friends, to leave the world a bit better, whether by a healthy child, a garden patch, or a redeemed social condition, to have played and laughed with enthusiasm and sung with exultation, to know even one life is breathed easier because you have lived. This is to have succeeded.